The NCAA is still trying to figure out what to do with eligibility this coming season, and as you're well aware, I'm sure that there's been a recommendation by a council saying that if you play less than 50% of the games this season, you should be able to retain your year of eligibility. There's been other folks that want to bump that up to under 75% of the games. You should be able to retain eligibility. There's even been an AD, the West Virginia AD says, hey, all you guys should just get this year. You get a sixth year after this, and this year won't count against you, basically. Where do you kind of stand, and what is sort of your thought process on that matter going into a season where you don't even know if you're going to start yet, much less if you know if you're going to finish?
I knew when I came back to Blacksburg that there were going to be risks taken because of COVID, and I know that my eligibility is at risk as well. So I just came to play football and get better while I can, and whatever happens, happens. To be honest.
As a guy that's a redshirt senior, did you consider? I mean, obviously opting out's a dangerous situation considering you don't know whether you'll get that year back or not, and you've got to play. I imagine you never considered that, did you, or have you thought about it?
I never even considered it. I've been too focused on trying to get better and stay healthy myself. So, yeah, I never even considered it.
Is there a perfect way to approach that, do you think? I mean, what's sort of your take on it? Is there a certain number of games you think you should play to consider it a full year, or what?
Honestly, I don't think there is a right answer right now. There's like so many things going on. So whatever answer does happen, there is no right answer.
Right. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Mike Nozzle.
Hey, Divine. A lot has been made kind of about, what happens off the field when you guys leave it, to stay safe. Have the team leaders like you kind of had meetings with guys, like, done team meetings, or how do you kind of try to hold everyone accountable, once you guys leave the field to make sure that there is going to be a season, that there's, you guys are staying safe? How have you guys approached how have the team leaders approached that?
We actually had a player team meeting recently. It was just only players, and we were just talking about how serious we got to take this season. And if we want to play, we got to be smart off the field, not just on the field. And to be honest with you, I'm not even worried about the older guys. I just had to get the message to the younger guys since it's their first year in college. They may want to have fun, but they got to know just at least for a semester, we got to be smart.
And is that a message you'll keep up with the younger guys? I mean, how does the upperclassmen kind of plan to kind of move forward with that?
The upperclassmen tried to let the younger guys know there will be some type of discipline if they don't follow the rules. It was players like that made that the rule. So not even the coaches, nothing involved. The coaches, like, if you want to be here, you have to be 100% in.
All right, WSLS.
Hey, what has leadership kind of looked like for you this year, especially since, with Caleb gone? How have you had to kind of step up into that role to kind of excel in that unit?
I've had to be a lot more vocal in the team group chats, on the field. A lot of the guys, I think, look up to me. I try to set a good example every day and show up to practice. And I don't know. My message to the team is stay positive and just treat every day like it's the same. Like, come to practice and prepare to play.
Did you ever think that the year that you have to be kind of the voice of your position would be as crazy as it is right now?
I had no idea it would be this crazy, but I'm always up for the challenge.
All right, Andy.
Divine, you obviously know Justin Hamilton pretty well, him being your position coach, and you knew Bud Foster pretty well because he was the coordinator for so many years. How different is it now with Hamilton in charge? Is it a different approach or a different personality, or what's that like?
Different personality for sure. Nobody's the same. Coach Ham, he's very big on details. Pretty much the same type of coaching. I love them both. Jahan is my position coach, so I'm a little bit closer to him, but they're both great.
What is there a style that, I mean, you mentioned details with Hamilton? Is he less of a yeller than Bud was? Is there anything that's different on that front?
Well, like you all know, Coach Ham was a player himself here, so he knows a little bit more what we go through. Of course, he yells too, but he tries to yell in a way that we take it in a positive manner.
Chris Coleman.
Yeah, Divine, as a defensive player, can you name a younger offensive player who's maybe like a freshman or something that Tech fans don't know about? Can you name somebody young on the offensive side of the ball who has really stood out to you so far?
To be honest, there's so many to even name. They're all working so hard and all going out there to ball. Like receivers, running backs, all over the place, all line. So too many names, to be honest.
WDDJ, Travis.
Hey, Devon, I know some of the guys are experimenting with the new face shields on the helmets that the engineering department has sort of developed. I'm just curious, do you have one of those on your helmet? And if so, can you give me your impressions? And if not, what are some of the guys saying that are using them?
I do have one of those actually, and it started off with a full visor on the bottom half and the top. And the first couple of days it was good, then it got a little humid, so it was harder to breathe and it got a little foggy. So recently they cut part of the bottom half so it still covers the mouth, but I have more air coming through so I can breathe, and it's a lot better. And I would advise my teammates and every other team to wear it.
Mike Barber.
Thanks for your time. Coach Fuente mentioned the other day that a big part of social distancing on the practice field and keeping you guys safe falls to you guys, kind of like policing each other, making sure you're arm's length apart. What kind of stuff have you seen in that area?
We have a rule, arm's length apart. I try to police it myself whenever I see too many people close together. I yell and I say spread out. And they usually listen to me. Sometimes they're too tired to listen, but I'm going to get them right.
How hard is that? Because, I mean, you guys have been playing football forever. You have so much work to get done on the practice field. Is it hard to remember that, or is it becoming second nature?
It was definitely hard at first. Like, nobody was even giving it a thought. We were all lining up right behind each other, but it's definitely becoming second nature now. Coaches police it themselves, too. So, yeah, it's second nature for sure.
And the last thing for me, what was your reaction to Caleb's decision to opt out? Obviously, he would have been a pretty huge part of your secondary.
Sad, of course. We would love to have Caleb, but understandable. I respect the guy. I love him. Forever my brother, and I can't wait to see him play at the next level.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Of course.
Couple more for Divine. David.
Divine, just piggybacking on Mike's question about Caleb, as you sit back there at safety, what does the corner group look like without him there?
With him there, he said?
No, without him there.
Oh, okay. I said that right. We look good. The next man up, and they're working hard. That year freshman, that looks really good out there. And Chapman and Breeze also looking very well.
And then Coach Fuente has mentioned several times with us the importance of depth, especially this season, because you don't know who might be in quarantine or whatever. Have you worked out at different positions in practice, where you might be an emergency fill-in here and there?
See, that's the thing about the coaches, especially on defense. We're trying to learn every position on the field, so just in case we need to switch, we're able to. And even the younger guys, I have them out there after the morning practice with me, just going over plays, helping them learn, and helping them get a better feel for the defense.
All right, Paul Van Wagner.
Hey, Divine, thanks for doing this with us today. I do have a question about terminology because we've all been kind of ingrained in the Bud Foster mentality, terms like whip and backer and rover and things of that nature. Are those still terms that are being used with the new scheme, or have you guys switched up what you're calling those positions and those players?
Well, instead of rover, it's boundary safety. Besides that, everything's pretty much the same.
Okay, thanks.
All right, one more, Mark Davis, and then we'll go to Mr. James Mitchell.
Hey, Divine, thanks a lot for doing this today. I wanted to ask you, you have all the protocols about, with the COVID-19 at practice, away from practice, off the field. Does that take away from, I mean, football is typically kind of your guys' escape from everything. Does that take away from that at all? Or do you still look at football as kind of like a return to normalcy while you're out there in practice?
Football is always going to be an escape. For me personally, I don't know about the rest of my teammates, but speaking for myself, football is always an escape. And the only thing I have to remember is to have a mask on when I'm off the field. But besides that, just play ball.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Divine. We'll have James Mitchell slide into the hot seat here. All right, Andy Bitter.
Hey, James. Just question. You lose Hazelton, you lose Keene, McLeese, a bunch of guys on offense. I'm curious, you see the team obviously a lot more than we do. Who are the playmakers on this offense? I mean, obviously Trey and Tavion and yourself. Is there anybody we're overlooking or haven't seen much of yet?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot more that maybe didn't see as much action last year. We got Nick Gallo, Jaden Payute, Caleb Smith. We got a lot of guys also in the backfield. Got some young guys in the backfield, as well as Marco, who's a JUCO transfer. So I think we got a lot of weapons on the offense. It's just, getting back into the swing of things where we missed spring ball, but we definitely have a lot of weapons returning.
And you specifically, you moving inside and out? Are they kind of moving you all around, or is it specifically a tight end spot that you're doing right now?
Just anything they ask of me, a little bit of everything right now. Playing tight end, going outside, just pretty much doing a little bit of everything, whatever they need me to do right now.
Mike Barber.
Yeah. Hey, James, I wanted to ask you, first off, Coach Fuente mentioned at practice the idea that you guys kind of police yourselves for keeping social distance. Divine was talking about having your arms length apart. What have you seen, and how involved do you get in kind of making sure everybody's doing the right thing?
Kind of like Deablo said, at first it was kind of like, people aren't used to it. Like we had like hidden drills and drills that people want to be involved in and get real close that we kind of had to, police a little bit more. So that was definitely different at first, but I think now people are starting to get used to it and know that that's going to be a necessity for us to be able to be successful this fall on and off the field. So, and I try to police it when I can, when I see it. And so I just try to go about it like that as well.
We've seen some schools that have had to kind of send their student bodies home already, but they've maybe kept football going. I'm curious, in your mind, if Virginia Tech had to cancel classes, make them go all virtual, get rid of the students from campus, would you be cool staying there and still trying to play your football season?
Yeah, actually, it'd probably be easier if you think about it. Without the students there, we kind of be like in our own sort of bubble, away from people. So I think in a way it would actually be easier to kind of get things done.
Thank you.
David Cunningham.
Mine's similar to Mike's question. There's been so many positive cases at other schools. North Carolina, Notre Dame have had to send their students home. If there are students at Virginia Tech that have the same mentality as other students at other schools, just saying that the virus doesn't really matter, we're going to be sent home anyway, what would you, using your platform, what would your message to them be when you've got an entire football season on the line?
Just, be cautious and not kind of, I don't want to sound like this, but like it's bigger than us right now, even as football players and as students. Like as football players, we can't be selfish for other sports. Like we got to do our part for the other fall sports that want to play. And my message to them would just be, you know, wear your mask when you're out and try to limit those big interactions because, you know, we've worked hard for this and we definitely want to play.
Norm Wood.
Hey, James, you might have heard this when I was mentioning to Divine the eligibility question. You obviously aware of this. There's NCAA is still trying to figure out what to do about it. If you guys start the season and don't finish, there's a recommendation from the council saying that if you play less than 50% of the games, that you should be able to retain your year of eligibility. There's been other folks that have said it should be bumped up to 75%. If you play less than 75%, you retain your eligibility. There's the AD at West Virginia says everybody should just get this year, and you just get it. You all get a sixth season. So, given all that and the uncertainty that goes into all this, where do you stand on that issue, and what's your thought process as you begin this season in terms of, you know, uncertainty of, you know, whether you're going to have to burn this year if you don't, you know, if you don't play more than 3 or 4 games, and your uncertainty about all that?
Right now, I'm just doing my best, you know, just taking one day at a time. I know at the end of the day, those things are things that I can't control. Lord willing, hopefully me and my team, we stay, as well as everybody playing, stays healthy, and maybe nobody gets it, and we all get to play a full year. The conferences are playing, of course. But as far as that's concerned, you know, I haven't put that much thought into it because I know it's out of my hands.
Coming off of a breakout year like you had last year, this is a pivotal year for everybody, obviously, but especially for you. Is there a perfect number in mind, or do you think there's a number? Have you thought or talked with teammates about, you know, a number in mind about what should constitute sort of a full season in terms of eligibility at all?
Leadership Council had kind of like a small meeting with Coach Fuente about it, and he kind of just read over what the NCAA had released about the rule. We didn't really discuss what we figured a full season should be. We kind of just sat down and kind of talked about it and seeing what our thoughts were, but we didn't really discuss like what we figured a full season should be.
Right. Thanks, man.
Aaron McFarlane.
Sorry about that. Thanks, James. Thanks for being with us, James. Just curious, it looks like if we do play, there will be either very limited fans or no fans for the early portion. Have you given some thought as to, or if you could right now, just what you think that will be like? I mean, we know football is such an emotional sport. You draw some energy from the crowd. How do you think that will impact you guys?
Well, we know we've been actually hitting it hard. Like, we might not have fans, like, so we got to be able to create our own juice. Coach Fuente and all the coaches have been big on us, like preparing us, like, to be ready, getting the sidelines ready, even when we're going against the defense in practice, you know, making sure we're creating our own juice just in case if we're faced with that in the season. So I think we'll be prepared for it if that does happen.
Do you envision running out of the tunnel at Lane Stadium with no, roar that accompanies Enter Sandman?
Yeah, it'll definitely be different, but I mean, that's the times we're living in right now, and then something we'll have to adjust to on the fly.
Thanks, man.
Tim Thomas.
James, thanks for being with us. What have you mentioned Nick Gallo as a guy that's kind of stood out as another new playmaker potentially for you guys this season. What have you seen from him this fall? What type of teammate is he in that tight end room?
As far as teammate goes, he's a great teammate. One of the better teammates I've been around. He's always encouraging the guys, even when he's not in. And that's something you don't always see, especially from a guy who's only been here for a year. As far as him on the field, he's good. He's a good route runner. He's good in the pass game, and he's coming along in the run game as well. It kind of reminds me of how I was, like, just coming along. I think if we had a spring, he would have helped him even more. But he's made a lot of progress just so far in the fall. So I'm excited to see what kind of season he has this year.
Hank Kurz.
Hey, James, thanks for doing this. With all these schools and leagues shutting down, is there part of you that wonders why you guys haven't kind of followed suit with that, and how weird it's going to be to, you know, a couple of leagues playing and most everybody else not?
It'll definitely be different, but you know, if we're playing, like we got to be ready, we got to be prepared, and then that'll just create a bigger stage for us. And you know, like you said, we got to just be prepared for whatever happens. So.
Is it hard not to think that, you know, when you see somebody walking out on the practice field, like if you saw Whit Babcock walking out there, you think maybe they're going to pull the plug? Is it hard not to think that, you know, about that possibility all the time?
Just like I said earlier, right now it's out of our hands, something we can't control. As far as we know, we're playing and we're preparing for NC State on September 12th. So that's all we can control right now. And until they tell us different, that's all our focus is on.
Thanks.
All right, a couple more. Mike Nisley.
Yeah, you guys had your first scrimmage. I think it was on Sunday. Anything you could share about how the offense did, or you know, what some of the standout players or things that you took from it?
It was our first one, so I mean, obviously, like I said earlier, we didn't have a spring, so we obviously have to fine tune some things and, you know, get our chemistry right. But we definitely have a lot of playmakers and guys that will help. O-line is we got a lot of depth at the O-line as well, so definitely excited for the future and, you know, just building off that scrimmage and just getting better off of it.
And with Hendon, you know, obviously you didn't have a spring, so there's a big gap of when you had seen him. Where is he kind of taking a step forward? I mean, did you see something that, I don't know, he kind of spent the time improving on? What has jumped out about him after kind of that layoff where you guys weren't together?
I would say just the way he's leading right now. That's the thing that stands out to me the most. He's really trying to help not just the quarterbacks. He's making sure that everybody else is right because, you know, he's a quarterback, so he knows the whole offense. So he's making sure that everybody's doing their job and, you know, everybody's on point and making sure everybody's doing the right thing.
And you mentioned the leadership council, and Divine, I asked this too, and he mentioned that, you know, a bunch of you guys had a team meeting, players only, and tried to kind of get the young guys to, you know, realize off the field they got to be careful. I mean, what was that meeting like, and were they receptive, and how important was that for you guys to kind of have a voice in that?
It was definitely important, especially straight from the fact that it was just the players. And I think the fact that it was just the players that, you know, held the meeting and conducted the meeting, that they took it really seriously and knew that that these older guys like wanted to play, and we know they want to play too, but it's obviously under different circumstances. But just the fact that it was just a player meeting, I think they really took it seriously and are gonna, you know, do the necessary things on campus and off the football field so that they get a chance to play as well.
Thanks.
All right, last one, David Teal.
James, what was your reaction when you saw UVA on the schedule in week 2?
I mean, it's right now I got to worry about NC State. When it gets there, I mean, we'll talk about it then, I guess. But right now, it doesn't matter if we don't take care of NC State.
And then we don't know if he's going to have immediate eligibility or not, but what have been your impressions of Raheem?
He's an electric player for sure. He's a guy that will come in. If he ends up being eligible, he'll help this offense immediately. So he's definitely one I'm excited to see. If we have him, that'll be great for our offense.